Howdy doody, welcome back to the ranch. My name is Mick. This behind me, my 2019
Ram 3500 dually
with the 6.7 Cummins diesel in it. Completely stock, might I add, until today. Those of you that are familiar with this project have quite literally been yelling at me in the comments to change some things about this diesel, and today we make that happen. We are fully deleting this truck with a full kit from Spelab as well as a grid heater delete from BD Diesel. I am so excited for this day. I've been waiting for it. I've had the parts for a while. We're finally getting to it. We are also going to do a sound test and comparison between a deleted 4-inch exhaust versus a 5, and we'll pick our favorite. Let's get started. Okay, so full disclaimer on this one, and I hope you guys are excited for me because I'm excited for myself, and this is thanks to you, my subscribers. And I'll take this moment to shamelessly plug myself. If you aren't subscribed to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, as well as classic car revivals and heavy diesel equipment revivals, stick around, consider hitting that button for me, I'd appreciate it. Free. But the disclaimer is this. I am being paid to make this video from Spelab. They are providing the parts for me for free. I'm hoping that that's a good thing in your mind because it's showing that we're growing, and it's because of this channel that I'm able to make a video like this, which to me is something that I am incredibly grateful for, so thank you. The second disclaimer is this. As I'm sure if you are watching this video, you are probably well aware, deleting emissions-controlled diesel vehicles like this and putting it on the road is not legal. So at the end of this video, we're going to be taking it all apart and putting it back to stock. With that being said, I am also going to give you my honest opinion on this kit. I am not going to sugarcoat it. Quite frankly, I would rather take it off my truck and deny the compensation rather than put something on my truck that I think is not going to be reliable or be used as a benefit to an investment of this caliber for me. So if I like it, you are going to know, and if I don't like it, you're going to know. With that being said, this is my first time ever deleting a vehicle, so you're also gonna see firsthand how user-friendly something like this is. I'm pretty excited for that as well. Starting with the tuning process. We have a Minimax tuner that is tuned by Bully Dog, which to my understanding is a pretty well-known brand. So we are going to throw it in and see how it goes. Let me jump in the driver's seat and we're gonna see if I can tune this thing myself. Well, truth be told, it's been about 2 months. Now hear me out. I put the project on the back burner. We were moving out of the shop up front. I had a bunch of other projects going on, and more pressing projects. This truck was still drivable, but the biggest reason why I've been putting this off is I had some major complications with the tune of this truck. And I wanted to take my time and make sure that I had the tuning portion figured out before I go stripping a bunch of parts off this thing. So that's what I did. I took my time, I reached out to Bully Dog for some help, and they gave me none. And hopefully that is the only dogging you'll hear out of me towards a company, but I am utterly displeased with their lack of effort in helping me figure out what was wrong with their tune. Now I will say I did get the tuner like I mentioned as a part of the brand deal with Spelab. However, they're just funding the tuner as a part of the kit. They don't make the tuner or the tune. They have nothing to do with that end of it. Okay, I want to keep this moving. This is a long story, so if you want to hear about the whole story with the tuner and what ended up happening there, I will put it at the end of the video, but for now, let's just keep moving forward so we can get this thing done. with all that said, I don't know if it's the same for everybody. That has been my experience, but the tuning portion is finally done, and now I am able to delete the emissions controls off of the truck. Boy, am I excited to get started. So the first thing that we're gonna do is the most important, in my opinion. It is the grid heater delete kit from BD Diesel. Again, great customer service with these guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a discount code for you for this, but they're gonna try for me, so you'll know when this video comes out. The reason why I'm going with this over a through and through delete from someone like Banks is because I live in Cleveland. It gets cold here. I don't want to delete my grid heater. I want that element. I want that heating element because I live in the cold. Rather than deleting the whole thing altogether, they give you a beefed up bus bar, they're called, where you don't have the risk involved with the nut basically searing off and falling into your intake. So that is the direction we are going with that. They did give me a little discount on that, but I spent my own money on that. So we'll start with that because that's the most involved. And as you're doing that, you're taking apart the EGR, so we can just delete it while we're doing that. But I am tired of talking. I'm sure you're tired of hearing me talk. So let's jump up into the engine bay, start stripping this thing down. So I'm gonna get to work tearing this open. Essentially, I gotta take this cover off. I gotta take the whole EGR apart, so that cross tube there, this intake elbow here, and then we'll be getting into all of the injection lines and the fuel rail itself, which is under this little foam cover here. I'm gonna get wrenching, and I'll update you once we get to a point where I'm yelling and screaming at all my electrical connectors that I can't get unplugged. Lost a bolt. Oh, that's great.
First broken bolt. Right off the rip. Today's gonna be a good day.
Alright, so this crossover tube's off, but it looks like I got one little bolt right here snagging me up, so I gotta sneak something in there. That's a tight fit. I don't really see a reason not to just cut this off. Alright, there's that. Here's that stud. Okay. There's enough of a lip on this where if I really heat this up good, I should be able to get that out. I'm gonna use my head here a little bit. I'm taking that whole boot off, so I'm gonna wait until I have that off. We'll work on it on the bench. If I have to, I'll weld something to that and we'll get it out. It shouldn't be too bad, but I'm bummed that that even broke to begin with. Hopefully that's my only hiccup. 10 mil, 10 mil, 10 mil, biggin, 10 mil. Got it. All right. Oh, brother, just wait until you see what I'm looking at. This is exactly why people delete their trucks. Look at that. That is insane. The amount of soot. And I'm sure it gets worse than this, but man, that is caked. I'm excited to see what it looks like on the actual inside of that. And this thing is just filled. I mean, it's still a clear pathway, so it's still breathing. But boy howdy, not by much, that is for sure. Needless to say, before we put this elbow back on, we're gonna be doing some cleaning. That's for sure. Smells good though. I gotta get this harness out of the way. Looks like I can just unclip it. I got one connector here, a connector here. That'll just be a big plug that I can get out of my way. This whole time I'm just trying to get this stupid foam cover off, which, why is it even on there? Heat, I'm assuming? But good Lord, it's tucked underneath 50 different things and it's in the way of getting those 50 different things off. This part of the job sucks. But obviously, given my current state of the engine, it's all gonna be worth it. I'm gonna keep fiddling around. I just want to rip this thing out. Yeah, like that. All right, great. I'm gonna go grab some lunch. My knees hurt from, you know, we all know the feeling. On a stool and you're trying to reach and your knees are just bending the wrong way. I think I'm gonna bring my dog inside too. She could use a nap. She keeps grabbing bolts and like bringing them to her bed. And I don't know why. All right, honey, you want to go inside? Go back to the house, go inside? Come on. All right, let's get back up and moving here. Looks like I got a 19 millimeter. I need to get all of my injector lines off. And once I do that, I should have access to one more plug back there, I think. Yeah, I guess I could get that now, but I'm not gonna. Probably end up like taping off the openings or something so no crap gets into them. Then after that, we should be good to remove the whole assembly here. So, enough gabbing, get back to work. Pinched myself. Shoot, I big time pinched myself. Oh no. I realized I was bottoming out my ratchet there and my control to go tighter is up against the firewall. I might be cutting this extension off. Alright, I didn't like it, but I ended up just taking a hammer and hitting the side of it since I had that swivel joint on there and got it to bend over. Tool still works, so just kind of unfortunate. Alright. I'm gonna see if I can't pry this fuel rail up to the point where I can just slide out the grid heater. It's looking like it. Alright, we got it. Alright, we got good news. The good news is this thing went about 200,000 miles and that nut and bolt does not look like it was even remotely close to coming off, which is great.
Honestly, I would have been a little angry at myself if I put the mileage on this thing that I have, which isn't much, but I've definitely been putting off this project, and every time I start the truck, I clench. You know what I mean? Next steps, definitely going to be clean this up, clean that whole intake up, and once everything is free and clear of all this soot, then we can swap out the pieces on this and start our install. Should be good to go from there. For now, I got somebody to come check out this skid steer. I'm looking at selling this thing. I'm hoping it does sell. I could really use a tracked machine, to be honest, so that's the goal right now. Just a little sneak peek, but I don't know if it'll sell today or not, but we'll see. But that guy's coming here and he'll be here in 5 minutes, so I'm gonna close everything down for now, get him on his merry way. Hopefully he takes that thing, and then we'll be back on this thing. All right, so I took the rest of my night there and just kind of quasi cleaned everything up. Took an air compressor, blew it out, shot back, screwdriver, both the intake horn itself and my grid heater. Just, you know, got it as clean as it needs to be. I'm sure with normal use, the rest of that carbon will burn off. Now I need to take my new parts and my instructions. And I got to take this bus bar off, replace it with the reinforced one. In the instructions, they give you a diagram of what you need to do, and I guess you have to pay special attention to the diagram here for how the washers go on. So they give you a couple tools to help get it apart and installed as well. So I'm just going to take a minute, follow the instructions, get this replaced, and then we will be putting this all back together. Once that's together, we can jump to the other side and delete the EGR cooler, and then we'll be on to exhaust, and this thing will be done. Just as easy as that. See how this has a series of washers and insulators. So that's what we got to pay attention to. But they give you replacements. I think this is the part that you need to keep. But again, I'm just going to look at the instructions here. Alright, so this is back together, but I just forgot. I still have a stud sitting in here that I need to work on getting out. So let's take this over to the bench, see if I can't heat this stud up and get it out with a pair of ice grips if I'm lucky. Not much to it I'm going to try here. I don't have a huge lip to work with, but I'm hoping with enough heat and schmutz, it'll just come right out. You know what? I'm going to skip this. I'm just going to go for the big stuff. Whoops. My bad. See where that leaves us. It's not moving yet. Try again. Don't get carried away. Key is patience here. Oh, I think we're moving. I think my camera just died, but I didn't realize. I think it was recording, but I think this is loose now. Maybe. There we go. We got it now. All right, got it. So far I've been getting lucky with my little mobile container setup here. I could have just welded this back on and done it that way. You know, still would have had to heat it up real good and all that, but I would have had a way to turn it. I don't have an adapter yet to run my welder, so I've just been kind of dead in the woods without a welder for the time being. But good news is we got it. So I just need to find a bolt that's the same size or just come back to it later, which is what I'm gonna do. Let's get back to the install so we can keep moving here. All right, there you go. Peace of mind officially installed. Let's get this thing back on the truck, piece her back together. I think the hard part is done. Shouldn't have said that. I think the hard part is done. Let's move on forward. All right, let's slip this thing back in here. While you guys weren't looking, I did tape off my injector lines. Probably should have did it a little bit sooner while I was taking everything out. I could have dropped dust into the fuel rail, but I'll be fine. Let's get this thing back in here. Gasket's still on there, and I did vacuum out my intake, and I checked the intake itself. There's carbon in there, but it's not all gummed up per se. I guess it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but still not easy. I tried looking back at footage. I don't know what goes here. I have an extra bolt. Maybe something, I don't know. This isn't long enough to get in there, but I used my long ones up on the fuel rail where they're supposed to be. And I was looking back at footage to kind of see, and I was to this point right here, and I noticed that that was still an open spot. So it didn't have anything to do with the fuel rail bolts that I took out. Something's got to go there. Yeah, like a puzzle, you just put back the pieces and hope that you figure it out before you get too far along and have to take it all apart. All right, I'm actually gonna, at this point, since I have yet to plug the wiring harness back in and I have a couple plugs here that are freed up now, I'm just gonna continue on with demo per se. And essentially in order to do that, I'm just gonna start unbolting a bunch of stuff. This piece here that runs the length here on top of the exhaust manifold, that is what I am taking apart and deleting per se, and in its place we're putting a couple block off plates and a tube. So it's going to free up a lot of space. But in order to do that, like I said, just looking at it, I'm just going to start taking it apart, and I have quite a few rusty nuts that I want to go ahead and start soaking down, just from what I can see. With that, we're good to start ripping and tearing, so let's see what we see. Well, it wasn't supposed to rain today, but in classic Nock Ranch fashion, I'm getting rained out. It lightened up a little bit, so I'm out here picking up tools, but all of them just got soaked sitting here. I'm frustrated. I'm throwing wrenches at this point. I'm still trying to get that one bolt off. I'm to the point of bending wrenches to see if I can fit it in there, and I don't know. Georgia's dry though. That's all that matters. So I'm gonna see. I'll sit here for a little bit, but the radar doesn't look good, even though it looks blue. All
right, I fully resorted to bending this wrench, so say a prayer for me, because I need this to work. It worked. Now hopefully I can get my wrench back to normal later. Would imagine with how easy that just came off after the real hot heat, I probably didn't need to bend the wrench, but hey, I'm just happy it's off. Let's continue on with this disassembly. I am running out of time now with that rain just really screwing me. All I got left are the 2 bolts, the same 2 that were up here. 1, 2. I think I got the same 2 on the post back there. I should be able to reach back there with a pretty big ratchet and see if I can get them out. I'm pretty sure when I'm sliding this out of here, I think I gotta kind of pry this back and then lift up and out. Alright, I got my ratchet on there. I'm gonna try and the other side here and pull on it because that sucker's on there, of course. Yep, that one's loose. Alright, got one. Unfortunately, I think that's the easy one. I can't even see the other. Keep cutting my arm on this. It was in the way of getting this tube off. I don't really see the point of it. I think I'm gonna cut that off. Golly, that's gonna be tough to find. Oh my god, am I on it? That was a total guess. I think I got it. Got it. I got it. Oh, thank God. Kind of seems like I gotta pry straight up to get the back off and then go from there. Well, I made a mess.
How dare you!
God, that coolant stinks. Got her. That coolant smells like dog piss. Not gonna lie. So here's what we're looking like now. Gotta block that off, that off. Is there anything else that I need to do? Does this, I probably use this with my brackets. I'll have to read the instructions there. Let me do some cleanup here. I'm gonna clean up some tools and then, oh, you gotta eat too, don't you? It's dinner time. 6 o'clock, past dinner time. I'll be back. All right, that's it. It's starting to rain again. I just looked at a radar and it's not stopping for the rest of the night. So in the rain, I'm gonna close up all the holes. I'm gonna put my intake elbow back on. I'm gonna cover up my 2 cover plates and my coolant inlet, shut everything down for the night. And when it stops raining, we'll be back here to finish. I got exhaust and basically the delete kit, which is pretty simple to put on. It's just 1, 2, 3 plates and 1 heater hose, and that's it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, we are all installed with our whole engine side of the delete kit from Spelab. Install was perfectly fine. I really didn't run into any issues. Installation was also fairly self-explanatory. You know, if you know how the stuff came off, it's pretty obvious how you put the stuff back on. But let me run you through it here. On the driver's side, we have our block off plate. That's just a gasketed plate with 4 bolts that runs in here. Hooked up all of the electrical connectors that we're using. Again, this is my connector for the tuner, and we have our grid heater upgrade tied back in, so that's functional again. That's really all there is to it on this end of the deal. On the passenger side, more of the meat and potatoes of the install here. Again, relatively self-explanatory. They do have online instructions that you could follow along. I referenced it a couple times, but I really didn't need it. You have your block off plates front and rear on the exhaust manifold. You can see there's a little nipple that I put some thread sealer in right in the middle of that one. I think you could put some sort of either exhaust temperature gauge or something in that port. I'm not really sure. I don't care. I'm not doing anything with it. Then we have our bracket here that ties into one of your exhaust manifold bolts, and then it's just a plate that holds your dipstick. Little spacer here with a nut for this connector. Not loving how tight this is, but I'm not sure there's a way around it. You can't really manipulate this rigid tubing here for your coolant. And then as far as this goes, yeah, you can only bend this so much, so it kind of is what it is. Again, I don't love how that fits up, but I don't know if there's a kit that does that better than this one. I truly don't know. But you basically just slide this nipple in here that has an O-ring, and they give you tubing, put a little worm clamp on there, and then you run it down here. They do give you a replacement for this that has a barbed fitting for this hose, and then you clamp it. I forgave that. I opted not to use that. It's this right here. It's a nice little brass fitting that I'm sure would serve the purpose, but as far as how necessary it is, I don't know. We're gonna find out. I was struggling with getting a wrench in here with how tight this is to the head. I was struggling getting a wrench in here and getting this out. I mean, this is so locked in here with all the heat cycles and everything. My biggest fear was snapping it off, and that would have been like RIP, project takes 15 steps in the wrong direction. So I just shoved the hose over the existing fitting. There's a nipple here with an O-ring on it right here. So I just put a little grease around the tube, slipped it over. It was a tight fit, but it fit. And then I just clamped it down. To be honest, I think that's more than enough. I'm pretty sure most delete kits, that's what they have you do. They don't give you that nice brass barbed fitting. I could be wrong. Again, I've never done this before, but I think that that's going to serve the purpose. So that's what I'm doing. If I have any problems, it'll be that line blowing off and I'll lose coolant and I'll start to overheat and blow up the engine. No big deal. So that's that for the EGR delete. I also did the CCV reroute, the crankcase ventilation. Normally you have a hose that comes off of this connector here and drops down to your turbo. I wouldn't call this a necessary upgrade, but it is nice and it's cheap. And the only thing you're doing is avoiding those crankcase gases from backfeeding into your turbo, which to me only good can come from. So Spelab also makes this. All it is just a little rubber hose, which I opted to cut down. It actually comes longer, but I cut this nice and short so it's rigid. And there's a little breather here, and then there's a block off nipple here that I just used the stock hose, cut it short, and worm clamped that plug-in. That is all there is to it. I mean, that is as simple as it gets, really. I had no issues with the install process. Again, pretty self-explanatory. If you need them, they do have instructions online. So with that portion is done. Now we are moving on to the exhaust side. I got a big old box of exhaust tubing here. Like I mentioned, I went with a 5-inch straight pipe, but we are going to see the difference between sound on 4-inch straight pipe versus 5. So let's get into that. Okay, now that the engine side of things is complete, we can move on to the exhaust system. In my hands, I have a complete 5-inch straight pipe exhaust for this truck. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, what I would like to do is compare a 4-inch straight pipe versus a 5-inch straight pipe. And the reason why I want to do that is because with my 03, so my 3rd gen, that was straight piped with a 5-inch exhaust. And something about it, it sounded really good at idle. But the problem I was having was you'd put the thing on the highway, it just had this drone to it, and it wasn't pleasant. So I want to avoid that with this truck. I want it to sound good, but I don't want it to be too much. You know what I mean? So I get it, if you're after a loud, mean tone, you want the 5-inch. I just don't know for sure yet if that's what I want. So I'd like to compare both. The way that I'm going to do that, I'm planning on deleting my emissions control, so my DPF system, with a 5-inch straight pipe. And then I have a transition, a reducer from 5 to 4-inch, and I want to see how that sounds. I know it's not technically a 4-inch straight pipe at that point. You're going from 4-inch to 5-inch back to 4-inch, so that is going to mess with the acoustics, I'm sure. But that's just an easy way to see what we like. And if we like the 5-inch better, then we'll put the 5-inch on it. But I want to start with this first. We'll compare both, and then you guys at home can decide too, listening to both, what would be better for your situation. Right now, I jumped beneath the truck a little bit earlier, started soaking down all the nuts and bolts with schmutz to see if we can get everything to break loose without breaking every bolt off. We're gonna see. I know we got a lot of electrical connectors too, and a part of me was thinking, man, just cut the connectors off. But I want the option to be able to plug everything back in. Let's get beneath the truck, start unbolting everything. I'm gonna start at the tailpipe and just remove section by section, get up to the DPF system, unplug everything, drop it, and then we can start hooking up our new system and see how it sounds. All right, let's see what we can do back here. It's like I'm gonna have to cut that one off, but man, angle's gonna suck. Dummy. Forgot my def line was down here and just burnt it to a crisp. Ugh, almost caught my rag on fire. Alright, unfortunately I killed way too much time doing that. It's gonna rain tomorrow and I'm heading out of town, so I'm not gonna be able to work on this thing again until Monday. Fortunately, I lose a weekend this weekend. We'll get it. I'll see you back here on Monday. there's a big clip on the other side. Oh, this thing is not light. I wish I could show you. So this just pops up and out. I got that one, but I need to disconnect. I need to cut those ties. 1, 2, and then I should be good. Good Lord. God, that was easy. If I knew how the connectors came off, it would have been easier. I might have even been able to get the connectors before I even dropped it. But, alas, we persist. Alright. Now with that off, I just gotta weasel this thing out of here. Just pull it straight to me, so that's probably gonna take some doing, but we'll just guide it out nice and easy. That wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. Alright, we got her. We are fully deleted. Woo! Alright, I'm gonna go eat some lunch, but before I do that, I just gotta know, what does she sound like? Doesn't sound like much, to be honest. But it is pretty quiet, so I'm interested to see what happens when we extend the pipe and what happens when we compare it to the tailpipe itself, a 4-inch versus a 5-inch. But it smells good, I can tell you that much. It smells a lot better than death. Nice. Alright, you cool cats and kittens. Remember that lady? Here we go. So here's my stock exhaust up until we get to this 4-inch section here. So what I'd like to do is, you see I got this laid out so I can put that on my downpipe, connect these 3 pieces. That'll basically put me to the quasi same length where I was for that rear section. We'll tie in our tailpipe here so we can sound test a 4-inch with our little 5-inch section versus a 5-inch with our 5-inch little section, and decide which one we like better. So I'm not gonna bore you with me mounting this stuff up. It's pretty self-explanatory. You slip it together and then you got these stainless clamps. You bolt those on and that's all there is to it. So I don't know where my hangers go. I see a couple hangers on there. I think I have to reinstall this hanger that I unbolted. Actually, I never even unbolted that. That's the one that that there was the extra nut hanging on that I was too lazy to get to. So I still have that one on there. I'll throw the other 2 bolts in, hang it up. I'm rambling now. Let's get this thing mounted up, see what it sounds like. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for. The 5-inch is completely on. Obviously, it's sitting on a step stool. It's not on the hangers. It's just temporary for the sound test purposes. Okay, so let's fire this thing up, see how it sounds. Then we'll swap over to the 4, see how that sounds. Sounds good. I mean, I still think I'm gonna like it better with the 4-inch on, but at least we know. Okay,
final test. Now we have our 5" into the 4. In order to hang this properly, I'm going to have to shorten it up a little bit. But all in all, it should work. That is exactly what I want. I have no idea if the opening it up to the 5" and restricting it down to the 4 has any sort of effect at all. So I'm going to keep all my 5" tubing just in case. But I don't think so. I don't know if it affects the sound at all either. Like if you're just going to do an actual, like a true 4 straight pipe, if that's going to sound any different than having the 5 and dropping it down to a 4. All I know is how it sounds right now is exactly what I want. So there you have it. I'm going to button this thing up. Like I said, I got a pipe that I need to cut a little bit shorter in order to make all the hangers work. I'll hang this thing up. And then before I drop this thing down back on the ground, I got a couple other things that I want to button up. And this project's going to be done. Well, that is officially a wrap on the 5th gen Cummins project. It's been a long road to get here, but I think we are finally at a place where I can be happy with this thing. Obviously, in this video, we just went through a full emissions delete, but there's been a whole series on this truck from me winning it at auction and bringing it home as a non-runner, getting it running for the first time, repairing the transmission, swapping the interior out for a brown Longhorn interior, new wheels and tires, new front and rear bumpers, new off-road lights, set up the bed to work for me as a tool truck. I have been through this thing and I am so happy with where it is at right now. I'm sure, you know, another video will come up on this truck at some point, but as of right now, I just want to use this thing and enjoy it. The little thing that I was messing with that I was referencing there when I was wrapping up the exhaust is I put 1/2 inch wheel spacers in the front and rear, and I put it in between the two wheels. The reason why I did that was because of the clearance with these tires in the rear. It was, you know, they didn't rub by any means, but they were close enough to, you know, make me nervous, basically. If I'm low on pressure, on tire pressure, they would start to rub. So I just wanted them spaced out a little bit. Plus, you know, a little spacer action never hurts. You know, it gives it a bit of a wider stance. So happy with that. More so function over form there, but I do also like the added benefit of how it looks. With that said, we are putting a cork in this one. You're going to see a ton of this truck in the channel because this is going to be my main means of, you know, one, picking up projects with my Kaufman trailer over here if I'm not using Frank the Pete with the drop deck, but two, I mean,
just having all the tools and diesel in the back, I mean, it's going to be in the background of a lot of videos. So with that, my thoughts on the kits that I have for this truck. First and foremost, Spelab, I want to say thank you again. Great product. There are definitely a ton of kits out there, you know, all the way from high-end US brands that you know and love, all the way down to you probably just pick up a kit on Amazon. This to me is a good middle of the road. You don't need anything fancy to do what I did here. I mean, you can leave all of the emissions controls on the truck after you tune it if you want, and just unplug all the sensors, and it'll work fine. But this is a good way to, one, free up your engine bay, and two, just have peace of mind that nothing is getting filtered back into your engine. That is the whole point of deleting a truck like this. So I'm happy with the quality, I'm happy with the ease of install. Communication was great. When I was going through all the tuning issues, you know, they were spot on with trying to do what they could. I will link, hello. All my taxes are paid, you could take me off your list. Okay, okay, thank you, bye. I pay my taxes on time. Why do I? Where was I? I'll leave links to Spelab's website. I'll leave a link to the kit that I have. However, just keep in mind, tread lightly with the tuner from Bully Dog, just because of my experience. They sell the kit with that tuner all the time, so it could have just been my truck. I don't know. We have the BD Diesel grid heater upgrade kit. This to me is a non-negotiable if you have a 6.7 and you're in a climate like mine. I'm in Cleveland, I get cold weather. I didn't want to delete the grid heater. Everything with that product was great. I reached out to them. I don't know if I'm gonna have a discount code or not. I'll update you here if I do. If not, it's worth the money, just buy it. Also, special thanks to RaceMe for having a great tuning product. They helped me out a ton. Again, I paid full price for that one, but well worth it. I mean, it was super, super easy install there, so I highly recommend. I'll link that tuner as well. Also, I told BD Diesel that I was making a YouTube video on the product just to see if I could get a discount code for you guys and everything, and they sent me with a couple extra decals in my box just to share with you guys. So drop a comment and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's free to subscribe.
It's free.
Let me know that you want a decal. I also have, I'm testing the waters with different products, trying to figure out what I like. I don't like this keychain, but it is an extra just as a sample. So drop a comment, let me know that you want me to send this stuff to you. I'll send you the decal and a little keychain. Please don't put your address in the comments. I'll let you know if I picked you. If you get a response from me in the comment section, shoot me an email with your information. If you want me to sign the decal or the keychain, let me know. I will. It'd be weird to me, but I will. So yeah, drop a comment. Anyway. With that, that is a wrap on the 2019 Ram. If you guys enjoyed the video, I hope you did. Please do me a favor, like the video, share it, subscribe to the channel. It's free to subscribe. You just click the button that says subscribe below the video. A ton of projects coming up. One that I'm super excited about, I've mentioned a couple times. It's gonna be posted 2 weeks from today. So 2 Sundays from today. Big heavy equipment revival. So stay tuned for that. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, the Tiki Talkies. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. But always remember, don't be afraid to grab that wrench and get after it yourself. We'll see you next time. I almost forgot 2 things. All the tea about my experience with Bully Dog. If you want to listen to me complain about them and what happened there, we'll go back in time and I'll fill you in now. While I'm doing that, of course, since I'm putting this thing on the road, we need to proceed to, you know, take off all of the delete kit and put back on my emission controls. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Shouldn't take me long. I reached out to them asking for help with the tune. It wasn't meshing with my truck, it wouldn't take. They asked me for the model, make all the normal stuff. And this went on for over a month of me badgering this company for help, you know, just as customer service, you know, not for free help, just help. Troubleshooting why this isn't working. Is it something with the tune? Is it something with the truck itself? And the response time, the average response time, which by the way, Bully Dog does not have a phone number. They only contact through email, which they are horrendous at responding to the email. I think each response I would get, the time would be like 3 or 4 days best in between responses. And then after all said and done with me providing all the information, asking for help, them going back and forth with me again, like over the course of a month, they just threw their hands up and said, well, we don't support tunes on a tuner provided by an outside party, even though it's all their stuff. So with that said, they've been around for a long time. They've been around the block, but for what it's worth, that's my experience. It's a negative one. Spelab gave me another tuner with another tune to just try again, you know, in good faith to help me out, and that didn't take as well. So I'm chalking it up as something with Bully Dog's tune. From what I figured out in this process, something with the 19 and up 6.7 is squirrely. And the reason why I know this is because, one, my experience with the tune that I got from Bully Dog, but also I just decided to go out and buy my own tune. So I went with a RaceMe Tuner, who provides their own tuner and tune. Customer service has been great, in case you're wondering. And I've had no problems. But even with RaceMe's tune, they give you the tuner with an SD card, and you have to download the stock file and then send it back out through email, you know, just electronically, and they make a custom tune for you for 19 and up 6.7 Cummins. All right, that's everything. See y'all in the next one.